Hello. Okay, this one's a hard one. It's been really hard to try to figure out what I want to say about this palette because I'm a bit confused. So this palette is from Huda Beauty. This is the creamy palette. This is in the neutral brown creamy obsessions. I saw this and I was like, yo, neutral is usually not my game, but there was something about this color story that I really wanted to try it out. So it has all the information in the back, although you get socials on the side, more just distribution information. The packaging is matte. This is like raised and it's shiny. But ultimately, my decision, even though I held on to it a couple more days just to keep playing with it, I'm gonna have to let this go because I just don't see myself continuing to use this. There is one shade in here, one, that I absolutely fell in love with, and that's why I've been struggling with whether or not I wanted to keep this. But I think it's probably best and best for my collection if I do get rid of something I don't see myself really reaching for. This is the Creamy by Huda Beauty, and I guess more distribution info on the back. But when we open it up, there is a mirror in there. We're going to cover it up. But this is what the palette looks like. This shade is used to set the eye, and then everything else is creamy. I don't have a lot of experience using creamy shades. I just don't. So I was interested to see how this was going to work, because I don't really have experience using creamy shades. I don't think it was too bad. I mean, this shade says to set the eye, it says, so I wasn't expecting any color, any real color from this. And then we have these two shades down here that just didn't do anything for my skin tone. I understand it's supposed to be light, but it just didn't even give me, like, it wasn't even light enough for me, I feel like, to really do, like, that looks like my skin tone. That looks like that could be foundation for me, honestly. And then here's a darker one. Like, that one was a little bit more. But even then, it kind of, I'm gonna like, this girl give us nothing. Like, it's not necessarily the formula or the feel. I feel like it's just the shades. Because with these two shades, I was able to create more of a look. This shade, again, this is, the shimmer shade just did nothing for me. It just did nothing. Let me set this back here. Like, it's too much of a satin and too light to have really done anything for me. Like, I understand it's supposed to be neutral, but this is too neutral for me, y'all. It is too light. I just couldn't really, it felt like I was doing the same look over and over again. Like, I don't think I'm gonna reach for it. We have this shade here, which mixes up into kind of like a coppery tone. But even that isn't really enough to want me to keep this. Like, these two are really nice, and I'm sure they'll blend out really pretty. The two darkest shades in here. Of course, I'm gonna like the two darkest shades in here. We have this shade. Let's see. I didn't want to really mix it because I kind of felt like I was probably gonna end up giving this palette away. Like, it's just like that to give it a little fun mix, but the first look that I did, this pretty much scrunched up, rolled up, however you want to say it, on my eye. It wasn't very long lasting, the lightest look that I did. But then once I started using these darker shades, it definitely worked a lot better. And I know you're wondering, why haven't you mentioned this shade yet? This is my favorite shade in the entire palette. This is the shade that's making me wonder if I wanted to keep it, but I have decided not to. This shade is so pretty. It's like freaking, like, diamonds on the eye. It reminds me of the shade from, like, the Ofra Cosmetics palette. It is so pretty. It reminds me of, like, almost like an Ofra highlighter. It is so shiny, so wet. It is so pretty to me, and I love packing it on my eye. There's these I think they were called, like, star toppers, eyeshadow, was it the Ofra Lights toppers? I think it was. I actually have a review of it on my channel, and I ended up dropping the lavender and the, like, the white silver shade, and they both exploded and broke, and the only one I have left is the hot pink one. So that's why I'm like, oh my god, I love this shade. It is so pretty. I want Huda to make an entire palette of just shimmers. I want an entire shimmer palette, because this to me is the prettiest shade. But other than that, I don't know what the, I tried to watch other people's reviews, but it didn't really feel like they were reviewing it. Like, they didn't really give an actual reason why they didn't like it. For me, this feels like a lot of, like, these two shades didn't really do anything for me, and then these are too dark. I mean, they're gonna do something, but I couldn't even do the 60s eye look that I like. I need that 60s eye look fantasy, and I feel like I wasn't getting it with this. While I love this shade, I shouldn't keep a palette just for one shade. Like, it has to be an insanely amazing shade for me to keep the entire palette. And I feel like even with this amazing shade that I love, I don't know if I would fully grab this entire palette and search for it in my collection just for this one shade, because I usually try not to grab more than one palette. Like, if I'm doing an eye look, I try to just grab one. I don't want to grab multiple palettes running around trying to figure out what colors I want to use. So for that reason, this is gonna get passed on for me. I don't know if I can recommend it. Like, I don't know, because I've never used, I don't know enough about cream shades. Like, I honestly don't. So I can't even recommend this to someone who likes cream shades, because I don't know if this is a good formula. I felt like my issue wasn't necessarily the formula as much as it was just like the shade range. But I mean, maybe this is for someone who wears a lot less makeup than I do, because this one's a pass for me. But you let me know how you feel about this palette down below.